Melon, melon, discondelin. How does your garden grow? Hi. Just sharing a couple of off the top of your head files. And watching the water go by.
Looked the part. Tall, bushy white hair. But the thing about him was he was so terribly shy. And though he won a Pulitzer Prize, he avoided public glory others tried to force upon him. Though he did talk to children. And today, they talk about him.
He always makes them so that big kids can read them and little kids can read them.
Have you ever seen Dr. Seuss? He started in advertising and won an Oscar in the 50s for creating Gerald McBoing. But his books, they were his genius. He left ordinary pictures to the others while he drew Wizzlewolf, Yertle, and Lorax. Dr. Seuss always believed that a way to keep children reading was to capture their attention, and that he did indeed. And in all his books, there was always a lesson in life.
It is a terrible tragedy that Dr. Seuss died, but we still have his books.
It was his satire that got some books banned by adults worried about creatures like the Lorax who tried to save the trees. Ted Geisel died in his California home overlooking the Pacific, his wife and stepchildren close by. Geisel never had children of his own, but Dr. Seuss did. Marty McNamara, 3 National News. The addicted, the hardcore, and the social smokers are practicing their right to smoke anywhere they can, except in the office. Most non-smokers prefer it that way.
Everybody in our office has gone to another room to smoke, which is great.
A lot of people have quit because it's getting more expensive and getting more antisocial.
But for those loyal to their habit, smoko has turned into a 10-minute fix, a time to inhale as much nicotine as possible. Does this pull you away too far away from the desk?
No, well, normally you rush to get things done so then you can have your smoke.
Considering a couple of quick puffs in the loo, think twice. They're even promoting clean air in here. The Smoke-Free Environment Act leaves little room to share your smoking habit with anyone else, but other smokers. And according to the health department, the smoker population is growing. They say despite recent campaigns, more people took up the habit last year, up 4% for the first time in 6 years. Authorities blamed that to a last-ditch advertising bid by the tobacco companies. Today, those same companies are disputing the health department's figures. Now, within a fortnight of the new legislation, a new trend's emerging. Companies are showing interest in getting their employees off nicotine.
There will be more requests once 3 to 5 weeks is encountered.
A newsroom under deadline, a place that used to be infamous for chain smokers, but now all that's changed. When beating the clock is part of the job, making the effort to smoke takes just too much time.
Right, time to go.
The higher the stress, the greater the need to relieve it. The lower the stress, the greater desire to combat boredom. These extremes tend to produce the people who used to smoke in the office, actively and passively.
This is not smoking, this is just resting.
And I've been a passive smoker for 21 years now. Because people smoke around me, but I can put up with that. But I don't like the concentration of cigarette smoke in a smoking area because it goes through everything.
I think it's a great idea in a bizarre way because the environment is a heck of a lot cleaner and I'm actually losing the desire to smoke.
But not all offices are changing their rules.
If I said the guys in there they wouldn't be able to smoke, I'd have an uprising on my hands.
They call it the engine room, where the heat's on all day. And stepping outside for a smoke could cripple business. So the Auckland freight brokers have divided the office. The rules are, you don't smoke past reception. But not everyone's willing to comply with passive smoking.
I think anti-smoking legislation is a drag.
The Surgeon General reports smoking is bad for your health. Marty McNamara, 3 National News. They spend most of their lives entertaining us. But given the chance, what dogs really want is to satisfy their own urges. They live for it. Only we get in the way. But no one turned up a cold nose to opening night of the wonderful world of dogs on the big screen. It was our turn to provide the entertainment.
He's never been to the movies before. He's been everywhere else but the movies, so.
But while owners wagged their tongues, soon the tale would bury bones in the psyche of every dog owner here.
I think they'll learn a lot more about their dogs. They'll appreciate their dogs much more seeing them together on the screen like this. I'll come away with some profound thoughts.
Even going in, I was dumbstruck, wondering why this dog was my date when there are so many others to choose from, although not as handsome. A front row seat, and I had him wrapped around my finger, and on my lap, and finally in his place. And just when I thought we were the ones breaking out in spots, up the aisle number 4G was making a real slather of cinema savoir-faire. It's always the tall ones. Finally, curtain call, and an opening scene no dog in his day could resist. The story's told by a number of characters, but most of all from its star cast of canines.
This is the good part.
And while some scenes are heart-throbbing, others were just too graphic for some to watch. The storyline follows a number of dogs, but one primary pooch is named Fugly, a real gadabout who has a run-in with the law. A few of the viewers had seen it all before. Some had seen it happen all too often. Unimaginable things happen to dogs when their owners aren't around, and even when they are. And what would a movie be without a little something to pacify one's tender, emotional state? Could have been worse. One guy spent the entire movie waiting for the Jaffas to roll. Not all cinemas allow owners to come with their dogs. I guess I was one of the lucky ones. Well, it may be a dog's life, but... What? He says the book was a little bit better. Dial a sailor service where women are calling all the time.
Yeah, we have that. I have one in with me anyway. I got one with me in my cab now.
And you arrange to meet them or to go night clubbing, out to the movies, sightseeing, whatever takes your fancy.
For the last 2 days, at least 300 women have sought their very own soldier of the sea. They've cast their lines into a pool of 8 navies and 34 ships. And after weeks at sea, their catch is rising to take the bait.
The myth of sailors being womanizers, etc., and love and leave you is, I think, is only a myth, really. Generally, sailors do have personalities of their own, just like you and I.
Some are able to develop relationships overnight, but it can be an exercise fraught with blind date butterflies.
I'm not going on that. You're all right.
But for the discerning sailor seeker, you don't always get what you order.
We wanted Aussies because they've got better accents. But we love Canadians.
It must be because of their modest demeanor.
All Canadians are very shy and quiet.
Except this one.
For those women who expect a bit more of the gold braid, there's no harm in starting at the top. Hundreds of people dialing a sailor every day. Is it likely they'll get a date with you, Admiral Hunter?
I don't really think I'm available.
But for those who are, what's the attraction? Why are these bell-bottom boys so fervently favored?
It's not our preferred style to step in uniform, but, you know, the women obviously seem to like it, so what can you say? I mean, if the women like it, wear it.
They take us for our uniforms. Some women get the bodies, but we got the uniforms, you know. It disgusts me, I don't like it.
But then again, some women think some men are even more resistible without a uniform.
But not all the big guns are shooting up the town. Some sailors avoid the chase altogether by making sure their dream girl leaves port with them. Even if it means having a woman on their back, at least she's in the flesh.
She just looks pretty hard. She looks pretty good. I like it. She looks glamorous.
But with 4,000 visiting seamen and only 300 propositions, there's bound to be the odd sailor missing the boat. But the camaraderie in the Navy means at least you've always got your buddies.